Welcome, everybody, to the Armageddon Championship Series, Regional Cup, Asia, and Oceania. This is the final cup. We first did Europe, then we did the Americas last week. Maybe you joined me and Grandmaster Miro. Joining me as my co-host today is the monarch of memes, my favorite streamer, one of my good friends, Lula Roberts is here today. How do you feel? This is an exciting tournament.
I'm really excited. Do you know, I almost never get to watch and commentate because often I'm the one playing. So I'm super excited. This is one of my favorite aspects of chess. And also I'm super excited to be here with you doing this because, I feel like we just don't get enough screen time together.
I get no screen time. My mom always used to say that I had a face for radio. So
No,
no,
absolutely not.
She would not. No, she would not. My mom's the best. Shout out, mom. This is taking place on the FIDE Online Arena, the official FIDE gaming platform. If you guys want to check it out, chessarena.com. And what is this cup? This is the Armageddon Online Cup. It's a series of online qualifying tournaments. Like I said, we did Europe and Asia. Sorry, we did Europe and Africa 2 weeks ago. This was with Miro and Danil. Maybe you joined. Last week was Americas, and this week we're doing Asia and Oceania. Total prize funds of 60,000 euros. And the top two players in this tournament will qualify for the championship series, the Armageddon Championship Series, I should say, which will be an over-the-board tournament in Berlin later this spring with some of the world's greatest grandmasters. I think Danchenko, Bluebaum, and then last week was Jose Martinez and international master Renato Terry. All qualified, and I'm very excited to see who will qualify this week. Last thing I will note is that last week, if you guys joined us, we had Jose Martinez, Jospim on chess.com, a very fearful, very fierce chess player. He had a score of 11 out of 11. He went undefeated.
Amazing.
Yes, not just undefeated. He didn't even get a draw. He just beat everybody. And he will be in Berlin later this spring, I think in April. Sometime in April, but I don't think the date's been confirmed. But yeah, I'm really excited to see who's gonna join us. Yeah, I think in April, but I'm really excited to see who's gonna join. So it should be a good one.
Yes, me too. I wanted to talk a little bit about the format before we look at the players. So this is an 11-round Swiss, and it's 5-0 blitz, so no increment. Today's prize fund is going to be 10,000 euros. And whoever qualifies, like David was saying, from this will be playing in Berlin in April. So that's super exciting. Shall we take a look at the players?
Yes. I look at the player list, and there's a couple that stand out to me. We have a bunch of players from all over Asia and Oceania, India, Russia, China, Uzbekistan, Philippines. A couple of the names stand out to me personally. There's Krishnan Saskiran, who is the strongest player in the field. There's also Vaibhav Suri, Pranav Anand, who is 16 years old. I think he recently became a grandmaster a short while ago. And then one name that I will be paying attention to, I don't know about you, Lula, is Zhang Tan, who is the women's world champion from 2017 to 2018. And then, of course, we have our Arena Grandmasters, Arena International Masters, who will be doing their best to reach the top of the board.
Yeah, I feel like this is such an exciting category, especially with the just sheer number of GMs coming from India at the moment and, it being the next powerhouse of chess. So I feel like Asia and Oceania is, it's super exciting.
In general, I think there's, also there's like the Philippines has a history of chess. Yeah. Uzbekistan is up and coming. I don't know if you've been following Vaikanze. We have Sindarov and Abdusatorov and the Challengers and Masters series, respectively. Australia too has some very strong grandmasters that are kind of under the radar. So I'm really looking forward to see how this.
We're gonna see the Olympiad in Uzbekistan in a couple of years as well, aren't we? So
really, I didn't know that.
I believe after Hungary, the next one is Uzbekistan.
Is it in Tashkent?
I'm not sure. It's not the next one, but the one after that.
Very cool. Actually, this no one asked, but one thing I love about New York City, which is my hometown, is my barbers are actually all from Uzbekistan, and the barbershop is called Tashkent. It's pretty good stuff. They give incredible haircuts. You can't tell right now because I have not gotten a haircut in a while. But it's okay. Got to go pay those guys a visit next time I'm home.
You have great hair, David. Don't worry.
You too.
I'm sure everyone would agree.
I don't know about everyone. Now, Lula, what do you think about 5-0? We were talking about this a little bit before.
Yeah, I was saying that I think it's kind of an unruly time control because a lot of people play 3-0, they play 3+2. 5-0, I would say maybe even less common than 5-5. 5-0 feels long, but then all of a sudden you have no time and there's no increment. So it's not my favorite, but I think it's a good one to commentate though.
Yeah, and also you get a little bit of everything with 5-0. You get a bit more time in the opening, and you get the time scrambles that everybody loves in Blitz, unless you're playing.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. I love it. I love to watch it, but as a player, knowing that I'm going to get into a time scramble as someone who always uses all of my time, that's super stressful.
I think the good news for both of us is that we are not playing this tournament, and so
Yes.
we can kind of just say
get
viewers
to rest and watch.
Yep. And from wherever you're watching in the big wide world, whether you're watching in Asia, where it's probably evening, good evening to you guys. In Europe, good afternoon. And if you're a New Yorker or Illinois resident like me, good morning. Yeah, this is going to be an exciting one. We've got just about 5 minutes to go. Yeah, Lula, this is your first time doing commentary, right?
Yeah, I mean, I've done commentary on my own channel, but I feel like there's something different about doing commentary, with a co-host on another channel. So I'm a baby commentator. Yeah, I haven't done much of it before, but I'm excited. It's something I'd like to do more of, because like I said, being the one who's playing the time scrambles all the time is kind of stressful.
Yeah, it's much easier to point and laugh, or to say, don't try this at home.
Yeah, exactly. And I think we're going to see some really exciting and still very high level chess today because the field is very strong. And as we saw last week, with the Americas, anything can happen. Anyone can lose to anyone and anyone can win.
Yeah, there were some upsets which we unfortunately didn't cover, but I did look. There were some crazy upsets. One of the games we watched had the renowned streamer Eric Rosen, International Master Eric Rosen, for those of you who are somehow unaware of him. Yeah, he was in severe trouble against like a 1900. He managed to swindle it, as Eric always does, but there's also on this side, I should say, a lot of these players are underrated. Do not take their rating at face value. Some of these guys are extremely strong and they just started playing on the site. So this is really this is a arena where anything can happen, and I've seen it, commentated it, and we're gonna do it again. Yeah, and I want to just thank the good folks over at World Chess for having us on the show.
Yeah, I'm super excited. So, do we want to talk a little bit about the prizes? So, first place will be awarded 3,000 euros today. That's exciting. Second place, 2,000. Third and fourth, 1,000 euros each. 5th to 10th will be 250 euros, and 11th to 20th will be 150 euros. So that's a total prize fund today of 10,000. But the in-person event is pretty high stakes.
Yeah, the top two, for those of you joining us just now, the top two in this event will not only be making some good money, but they will actually be going to Berlin later this spring in April to compete in a 400,000 euro event. I don't know. I can't even imagine 400,000 euros. But it's going to be, obviously that's really exciting. So the stakes are high, but if you get close enough, you'll still go home with a decent prize. But the top two is the one to look out for sure. And we will be seeing obviously a lot of action as the Swiss continues. We'll be that picture will elucidate. So should be fun. And
sorry.
Oh no, it's okay. I was
going to ask how many haircuts you could get for that 400,000 euros.
Well, How many haircuts could I get? Well, these guys, they don't charge that much. New York
No?
haircuts, everything's going up in this economy, but it's still about, $20-$25. You had to get a bit for tips, so I don't know, you could get, on the order of 10,000 haircuts. So
Yeah, you'd be set.
I would be set. I'd get one every day.
Maybe you should play in the next one, David.
Well, I missed my chance. I should have played in the last one, but I had to do this commentary thing. So unfortunately I couldn't make it. Because, I would have won.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Okay, welcome back, everybody. For those of you joining us right now, I'm your host, David Vizgan of 64 Chess Podcast, and joining us today is Lula Roberts, chess streamer extraordinaire, meme queen, overall great person, and we're going to do this commentary thing, and as you can see, we're just about a minute away from the action beginning, so
I'm excited.
I'm really curious to see whose game we follow first, and what kind of craziness we might encounter over the board. And by the way, the standings of the tournament will be in your bottom right, so you can follow along as the tournament picture becomes more and more clear. So we're just about ready to get started. Lula, It's always a pleasure, and we're about to get in here in about 15 seconds.
I'm super excited. It kind of feels like before an actual before I play an over the board tournament and I get those jitters, and it's like everyone's kind of talking. I don't know. I'm still relatively new to chess, so I get super excited.
I never get jitters personally. I'm never worried.
Okay, well, one of us has to be excitable, so I'm doing the heavy lifting clearly.
And it looks like we're about to enter the first game.
Let's take a look at the first game.
And there we go. I think I think we see the game. We have this is going to be a strong one. I think we're having just our team set it up. But it looks like we have an Arena International Master facing off against the top board for the first game with the black pieces. Krishnan, Sasikiran. This is going to be a good one. This should start soon. Now, Lula, if you're facing a Grandmaster, what's your strategy in the opening? What are you trying to do?
So I've only played Grandmasters twice, and one time was in a simul, and one time was in duck chess. So kind of different strategies, but I always, try and keep things very solid. And basically, I know that I'm never gonna out-strategize or beat them on tactics, so I basically try to anticipate all the threats and keep things super solid, try and not have any weaknesses, just be principled, basically make sure I'm castled, make sure my pieces are out, how wrong can things go, and then of course you're playing a Grandmaster, so they go wrong, but you're gonna set yourself up with the best chances. And 1e4 we've got on the board. I'm super excited to see what kind of game we're going to get, because I've recently started playing e4, and as someone who was more used to closed games before that, I find that I've had much more exciting times. And we've got another game on the board here.
Have a different game.
That's okay. This looks like it may have come from a London. Do you think, David?
Yes, I do think this could be a London. This could come out of a couple of move orders, but it does look like it's a London. This makes sense. We have Arena Candidate Master 1278 facing off against Indian Grandmaster Ghosh Tiptayan. And the position right now looks somewhat balanced. Doesn't seem like there's anything too much. Black probably is a little better, has a bit more space. Pieces are developed a little bit more nicely. This queen is struggling to get into the game right now. So h3 is played, trying to kind of minimize the effect of this bishop, hoping to maybe move the queen and connect rooks. Now we have a3. Well,
Yeah,
you know,
I play this line as black against the London, and it's kind of uncommon to see this queen still on c1. Usually we get queen b3 in a trade, and a lot happens on the queen side. But having the queen on c1 definitely is playable, but it makes life a lot harder, I feel, for white.
definitely. And if you pay attention to the structure, oh,
Ooh, we just blundered a pawn there. Obviously, we cannot capture on d4 because the pawn is pinned to the queen.
and also notice that there's a threat now to take on e2, which would fork the king and the queen.
Mhm.
So
Yep.
our opponent wisely defends, but now our opponent is simply down a pawn. I was going to say, had that not... Oh, and so now the Grandmaster believes that, believes in just being able to trade down another pawn up. The knight is kind of pinned. It's not like a super serious pin, but, now the pawn on c3 is falling. So a wise decision here, trying to maybe relieve some of the tension, pushing c4. But now the second rook comes into the game, and both of these rooks will be occupying open files. This could be pretty bad. And here we go. We have
Oof. All of a
Oof.
sudden, black has a super active position, winning a piece here. And white is kind of just trying to hold it together, but we're down a lot of material already here. And black is, playing kind of simple chess, very principled, trade when you're up material. And there hasn't really been anything too fancy here. We've got another fork. Yep. Oof.
Threat of mate. So sidesteps it, but at this point now I think it's just just down a clean rook, and a bishop I think as well. So this is not going too well. Nice attempt, and that's unfortunately what I was going to say. A nice attempt, but blunders the skewer, and this should be wrapped up pretty quickly. So
this should be very easy to convert with those two passed pawns on the queen side. Trading doesn't help white at all. And there's not really much you can do here. Just kind of wait for it to end.
Yep. And you will note that, I was going to say, this knight, and there you go. We see checkmate on the board in the first game.
Checkmate on the board.
One thing I really love about the online arena is you see how the king tilted?
Yeah, it's cute.
It's very cute.
I love it.
It's very cute.
It's so cute.
Yeah. It's really cool.
That was actually a really enjoyable game, I found. Because it was kind of very balanced. London is not usually the spiciest opening. But then, one small mistake, we dropped a pawn as white. Another, and then suddenly black had two rooks on open files. Tactics everywhere. And... Grandmasters make it look so easy.
I always think it's a little crazy if you're going to play a really strong player to play something like the London, where you're not going to get any, from the get-go, you're not going to get anything super aggressive. You're not going to get, and probably if you're playing a Grandmaster, you will get positionally outplayed very quickly.
That's true.
That's not what I would do personally. I would try to go for something a little more testing. But
yeah. I mean, I said I play solid, but actually thinking back, I played Grandmaster Yasser Serouan in Duck Chess, and I did open with 1b4 because I knew I wasn't going to win on theory. So, sometimes you got to mix it up, take them into something they don't usually see. No one really plays b4 at the top level, the Polish. So, I got a pretty good position actually.
How did that Duck Chess game go? Did you win?
Sadly not. I was doing pretty well, but I flagged, classic Lula.
It's unfortunate. I think the strongest player I've ever played was I played Maxime Vachier-Lagrave in an online
Oh,
simul.
wow.
And
that's exciting.
I spent like a whole day doing prep in the Dragon, and the second we got out of my preparation, I lost. So again,
I feel like the Dragon is like that. The Dragon is pretty ruthless.
Yeah, and then probably don't try to learn theory against maybe like one of the greatest theoreticians in modern chess right now, a guy who eats Najdorf lines for breakfast. So that was not
only
the
the poison pawn line.
Yeah,
name a more iconic duo, MVL and the poison pawn Najdorf.
Yeah, that's true. He lives or dies by that with the black pieces against e4.
That's true.
People have told him to switch it up, but he refuses, which I deeply respect. So, you know.
Yeah, I mean, if you know it, you know it. Why not? I mean, I would never give advice to a grandmaster, so I can't even imagine. But
I would say do that thing better.
yeah. I mean, I like to say sometimes, if I was a grandmaster, I wouldn't do that. Like,
Yeah, personally.
if I was a grandmaster, I simply wouldn't hang a piece.
I think we'll be saying a lot of. Hopefully we'll be saying a lot of that today. There are some interesting things that happen in these kind of blitz games against strong players. Like a lot of meta decisions that can be weird, like queen trades into equal endgames when you have all the pressure. There's this thing that happens in blitz chess that I just I call autopilot, where you make trades because it's easy and you think it makes your life easier, and then the dust clears and you have a worse pawn endgame out of nowhere. And these are
I
things
really
that you
try
can't
to avoid that.
Yeah, but it's hard to calculate. Like you play on pattern recognition and blitz a lot of the times, right? And that's
For
where
sure.
your tactics training and just where general system knowledge, you play some B3 nonsense. That stuff will help you. But then you go in autopilot mode and you think about, okay, let's just trade stuff to make my life easier, and it actually makes your life harder. So that's one of the funny things about blitz.
No, I hate those kinds of games. I find beginners actually do it a lot, where they will just trade everything, and then, I mean, grandmasters also, if they're playing lower rated players, are very happy to do that because they know they'll comfortably outplay you in pretty much any end game. Especially king and pawn, rook and pawn, we've got no chance. But I have only ever had one classical game like that. It was in the Olympiad, and I was playing a WCM, and we played exchange French, but the exchange French people make fun of, and it was just complete draw all the way through. We drew on move 30, and it's just, I don't know, it's not the kind of game I wanted, but it was the kind of game I got. And I think keeping the pieces on in blitz, if you are the stronger player, can make things a little bit messier. I think sometimes when there's no clear advantage, you do have to make things a little bit messy.
I was just watching. There's this really good thing I learned from Daniel Naroditsky yesterday. I always thought, you're up a piece, just trade down, right? But he's like, when you're up a piece, this is the best time to just go for a mate. Just go send it because you have extra
True.
material. And it's a little counterintuitive, but actually, it's that's one goal. But simplifying can often be much harder than it seems.
Yeah, you're totally right. I mean, I've definitely had games where I've been 100% winning, but if you're not up enough material, or if you trade too much and lose your pressure, all of a sudden you can lose your advantage, especially if you're only up a pawn or two. It's really make or break.
You mentioned this exchange French. Oh, and I think actually we're going to get another game, so I might hold my breath.
I was about to say.
The exchange French, how you go e4, e6, d4, d5, and you exchange the pawns, right? So I've tried to just take the pawn with the queen, with the black pieces instead, and just see but nothing really. It's not super satisfying. So that's what the engine says. That's what I've learned from practical experience. So it's a little sad.
You can only really get away with that in the open Tarrasch French, where white commits the knight to d2 so that they cannot get a tempo on your queen after you recapture the central pawn.
Listen, I never play the I never play the I tried to avoid the Tarrasch and all those with the black pieces, so I wouldn't know. And it looks like we're about to get another game. This one is, again, we have one of our arena grandmasters playing against an international master, Josef. We have a Sicilian, very hyper accelerated dragon.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
This is a good stuff.
I love the ambition.
What do you think about the dragon?
Personally, I don't play the Sicilian as black, and I have currently been playing the Smith Mora with white. But I played a game actually in the Bird as black, and we basically got a Sicilian dragon kind of set up, and I was terrified because I was like, I don't play the dragon, I don't know how to do this. But it kind of, I don't know, the best way I can describe it is you always feel like you're going to be checkmated as black, but then actually the eval is 0-0.
Exactly. The dragon was the first
Yeah.
opening I learned in chess because I thought it sounded cool, and it was related to like space stuff. It's called the dragon.
Yeah.
If you notice on the black pawns around the king, when there's a pawn on d6, it sort of resembles the constellation Draco. That's where it gets its name from. This is not a great move by our opponent, actually, as you open up this diagonal, and now this dragon bishop comes alive. So this could get very bad very quickly. I'm curious what I would do here with white. I really don't know. Maybe trade the knights and try to move that rook, but this, playing b3 when there's such a strong bishop on the g7 square, just taking that whole long dark diagonal. Okay, and the trade happens. Obviously you cannot take that pawn on c6 because it is actually defended by the queen.
Yes, so right now we are, as white, looking to not go down the exchange.
Yeah, and I think white is in a little bit of trouble here. I guess maybe queen e2 and try to move the rook with some time, but it's a little difficult. On the other hand, if you can somehow survive what might just be a very bad scenario down on the diagonal. Okay, so this move comes. It's still on a dark square though, and now the other rook is attacked, so there's blocking with the bishop, and this queen is in a little bit of dire straits. I guess after a trade, you get the second rook on, but again, these diagonals are going to be oppressive, and this is a
White's position is just very cramped and uncomfortable. That queen on c3 is surprisingly strong, and you kind of in this position forget that white also has a dark squared bishop because black's is just so superior.
I actually don't know if exchanging bishops was really that necessary. Keeping the pressure probably would have been a good idea there, but you'll note that this queen, like you said very, very appropriately, is sitting on that c2 pawn and is ready to gobble it as soon as that rook moves. And yes, we do have some control of the dark squares too. We still have our dark square bishop, so we cannot let that be lost super easily. We need to try to keep that piece as much as we can. But it's kind of hard to find a move, because if you think, okay, maybe let's try to trade a pair of rooks, well, then you're losing all your queenside pawns, and this is international master at the end of the day who can make your life very miserable very easily. So it's tough to find a move, and our arena grandmaster has only 2 minutes left.
Oof, and we're gonna be losing that c pawn. Oh, doubling actually, improving black's pawn structure if white trades.
Yeah, it's an interesting move. If you trade, and then again, you still have this problem over here on c2 where it could be hanging. So white is going
having a pawn,
but this could get messy. So that there's a capture. I guess now you could play this, and now you would think you may have a free pawn, but there could be some nasty discoveries. If you take this pawn on c6, the rook might move somewhere. For example, could move. Well, I don't know. This is our international master friend will find something, and now our rook is obviously under attack. We might see some sort of sacrifice. This that was actually a very nice move by our friend with white, and actually I think white somehow has sort of tricked our international master. I don't think this position is as bad as you'd expect. Now trying to go for some sort of trade.
It's much better a position than it was just a couple of moves ago. White has played very ambitiously, and I'm very impressed actually. I feel like they've managed to untangle in a way that I didn't see.
And also, if you count the pawns, we are actually up a pawn with white.
Up a pawn.
So this is looking good. Like I said, don't underestimate these guys based on their rating. Now you have two connected queenside pass pawns that can fly, and we start with the move. Not starting with a4 that would hang the pawn, starting here and then maybe saying, okay, now maybe I will put a bishop on c5 and you can take this pawn, but now I have all the ingredients necessary to make a slow push Maybe you don't do it immediately because there is this idea of playing rook c8, which would be a little bit annoying. No, and we're just going full send. c6. Rook is behind the passer. Here, maybe with white, you may want to just create some luft for the king. Maybe a move like, I don't know, for example, there's no dark square. There's no light square bishop. Maybe you consider a move like g3 just to have some room to prevent any back rank ideas. The pawn is defended. Oh, we have h4 still creating some luft. Although I will note that the dark square is still covered by the queen, so can't be too ambitious yet.
No, and what we're seeing here is the dangers of 5-0. White is dangerously low on time with 23 seconds left to 3 minutes 33. And, you know, even if you do get a good position against a title player, often they don't spend anywhere near as much time in the opening, and they really save their time for more complicated middle game positions and later on in the ending. So this is difficult. You know, we're playing without increment here.
And down to 15 seconds. I think this is going to be over pretty quickly. Unfortunately, this is, like you said, the dangers of 5-0. But I actually think our friend here with our Arena Grandmaster friend. Oh,
this is nice, very nice, because all these checks, you know, take time. Even if it's a sacrifice, this is very difficult to defend quickly. If you're getting checked, it's harder to pre-move. It's harder to do a lot of things.
And here, I think, you know, you want to move as quickly as possible. Just try to get this rook somewhere. If it were me, I would have tried to get on the A rank, and, you know, now you're moving the pawn behind. But there's actually a capture here, and sadly,
still
it's
very
just
good
not
play
enough.
from white.
I think
But
that's
not
gonna do
enough
it.
time. Yeah, that's a tough game to lose. You know, when you're positionally doing really well, and feel like you've played an excellent game, and it's not enough. It's really difficult.
I think the instructive mistake there, we can't go back and replay it, but we had this rook on the b file. Should have never moved the rook from the b file. I think it would have been better probably to take the rook that was closer to the king and try to lift it and put it onto either the a8 or c8 squares, forcing promotion. And then you would have either a queen or an extra rook, and that would have been a lot easier to convert. But unfortunately, very low on time, playing with the last 20 moves with about as many seconds. So it was a good effort against a very strong player, obviously. And if we look at the standings, there's really not much to say right now. I think, you know, everybody's still kind of getting those first points, but the dust will clear pretty soon.
Yes, things will become much more apparent as we enter the second half of the tournament, but we are still only at the end of the second round. We have 9 rounds to go, and it's anybody's tournament.
Have you ever, what's the longest, you've played a couple of tournaments, actually. I think you've played some pretty crazy tournaments. You played the Olympiad, you played the Reykjavik Open. You've been around some pretty strong tournaments. What was the longest one?
Yeah. My longest tournament was the Olympiad, I think. It's 11 rounds. It's very long. You know, you're away for 2 weeks, and it was in India, which was amazing, but for me was very far from home. So it's a whole deal with, you know, adjusting to time difference and climate and everything. It was 11 rounds. I think I played 10 of them. I had 1 round off. It was tough. Yeah, it was really tough, but it was crazy. I mean, I played my first ever tournament last April, and then a couple months later I was at the Olympiad.
Yeah, life comes at you fast, as they say.
It does. It really does. Yeah. What about you? Did you ever consider playing like Reykjavik or Vaikonsei or anything?
I mean, I think for me the problem is I don't have the time. I'm currently doing a PhD, as you know. So it's kind of difficult for me to. I mean, you know, if the opportunity is there, I'll absolutely will take it. But it's difficult usually, like when I'm studying or working on research. It's difficult to just say, okay, pack my bags, 2 weeks of chess.
For sure.
With that being said, I did play a lot of over-the-board chess last year. I was living in Denmark, and I played a lot of club chess and like league chess, and that was a lot of fun. But you know, these kinds of tournaments is it's a very different. You have a lot of mini heart attacks in like 11-round blitz tournament. You know, when you're playing these kinds of. I remember like years ago, I think this was at the start of the pandemic. I used to enter these like Blitz and Rapid Swiss tournaments on chess.com. And they would be
I've done a
also like,
couple.
yeah, and so it's a similar vibe to what we have here, where like, you need to have a good start, you need to get the momentum. On that note, I think we actually talk about a good start and good timing. It looks like we are about to get our next game.
I've only played over the board rated Blitz once actually, and it's a whole different ballpark. It feels a lot faster than online. Online, you have the privilege of the pre-move, which really cannot be undervalued.
And the mouse.
Yeah, the mouse. What kind of mouse you have actually does make a difference. It sounds like an excuse, but it does make a difference.
Do you have one of those like fancy gamer mouses?
I have 2 gamer mouses actually, but
you should send me one, because I don't have any. I have like a Logitech office mouse.
A GoFundMe for you to get a gaming mouse.
Okay. And now in this the next game, this is a very strong matchup. We have an FM from Mongolia playing against Ghosh Diptayan, who we watched in the first game, Grandmaster from India. And
this is exciting. We have an English. We have a reverse Sicilian, and I play the English myself. And personally, I'm not a big fan of playing it this way as white. I really much prefer knight d5 after bishop b4, not allowing these doubled pawns, because I just personally find playing with the doubled c pawns unpleasant, committing to that so early in the game. But these guys have much better understandings of these positions than I do. And, clearly white is completely okay with this. I guess you do get the open B file, and he's capitalizing on that immediately. What do you think, David?
I think this is a good strategy from my experience in Blitz to play like this, because you get imbalances. And I think when you're playing Blitz, the only thing you can really guarantee, especially when you're playing really strong players, is you're going to need those imbalances. Playing knight d5 and playing those kinds of openings where it's more symmetrical, taking the more symmetrical approach to the English. And of course, also, with the black pieces playing the reverse Sicilian is looking for imbalances. Sure. I guess what I'm trying to say is, having these double pawns, you have these ideas to play d4, d5, ready to go. And in addition, having those imbalances means that you're going to have more chances somewhere on the board later on in the game. More places to attack, and it's a less dry game. So I'm actually a fan. I think something has happened to our broadcast. So, but yeah, we just had f5 played by Tian.
Yes, this is definitely not a problem. White is not worse in accepting these double pawns, but it does change the nature of the game. And we are flipping to a different game here. We've got an ending, a minor piece ending with a knight each on both rooks, and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 pawns for black and 7 for white. So pretty equal. What do you think?
This is, it's pretty even. I think I like white's pawn chain a lot better,
sure.
But it's pretty closed at the same time. I think that this could very easily be a draw. The white piece is obviously a much stronger player. It's going to look, and I think will be successful in putting a knight right there on e4, where it's a beautiful outpost, and it's very difficult to remove this knight. Also, you have ideas soon of playing something like b5, b4, ripping open the pawn chain. So maybe I shouldn't speak so soon. Like I said, b5, b4 incoming. So trying to stop this this ripping of the pawn chain on the queen side, hoping to create some counterplay, create some counter chances. So I don't know. I think there are a lot of options here for white, and not always a lot of time. So we have a trade, but this does open the h file.
It does.
Be another way to attack.
Impressed with black playing so actively. It's exactly what I think you need in this position. And black is even up on the clock, which is surprising. We have an international master here. And as you said, the ratings aren't always accurate, but going by what we have a 1600 versus a 2400, and this is a very steady ending. So I'm curious as to how we got here, but I don't really enjoy playing endings. if you play a full game of chess and you get to an ending, okay, but getting to an ending, like speedrunning it, is not my favorite way of playing chess. What about you, David?
I love endgames.
You do?
I love
You
endgames.
do?
Yes, I love endgames.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
I don't dislike them, but I love the middle game. It's my favorite part.
And here we go. Yeah, well, middle games are that's where the soul of chess is. And it's an interesting move actually by the International Master, creating a passed pawn. Not
Listen, protected.
Yeah. Now you have the knight is hanging. We need to be a little careful.
Yes, the knight is hanging.
But we have this crucial idea. We play something like b3, and if we can defend this pawn on b3, we will always have this pawn ready to go. Important to note. You see, this is actually a very nice move by our International Master friend. That you cannot, you would love to put a rook right now on let's say like d4 or c3, but all these squares are being covered, so it's actually very hard to attack this knight. And you do have the open h file, but you also have a semi-open a file, so you're ready to bring these to push your passed pawn, and at the right moment to move your knight and keep it going from there. And now we have doubling on the. Yeah, I'm curious. So we do have a trade. But now I think, we may be able to play something like b3, put a pawn behind, and so see b3 is played by black, trying to stop that nonsense.
I understand not wanting to play b3 because it kind of gives up that c3 square to black's rooks, but this does definitely change the nature of the position, and I guess we're not grabbing that b3 pawn as white.
I guess,
so
yeah, interesting, not rushing to take, but there's a problem now that actually this central pass pawn on the d file is also could be a big problem.
For sure.
Something seems to have gone awry, and that we do have a capture, and I think black is just much better now. Up 2 pawns, we have a pawn. Basically, if you can get rid of this b pawn somehow, you're 2 squares from promoting. And white's rooks are connected, but they're somewhat discombobulated. Black's rooks are not connected, but they have a purpose. And this is actually an unavoidable rook trade.
Yeah, this means that black will have at least 2 passes, and we're never capturing on b3 probably after this rook trade.
Yeah, I think white is just losing here. I think you trade, and then this pawn on e5 is very soft. Now you have an idea to play something. Okay, so even just saying I'm taking this pawn, you have no say in the matter. We have 2 connected pass pawns in the center. The technique here, I mean, very important to note.
Impressive.
Yeah, this is very well played by our. This is an underrated opponent, and it's outplaying International Masters. It's very impressive stuff. Yes, it's a critical move. There are no checks right now. Oh. And that should be GG. This is a little
I
one
assume
last
that was
trick.
a mouse slip.
I think it was a trick.
Do you think so? With 2 minutes on the clock, maybe with 10 seconds on the clock, but with 2 minutes, I'm not so sure.
Well, still part of the game. No takebacks in this house. This is not League Chess. This is the online arena. Yeah.
Do you play dirty chess like that when you're low on time in like Blitz or Bullet?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you do. I kind of wish I did, but
it's a skill. It's something you need to practice. Knowing where those tricks are. There is like some skill to it actually, and like looking for those cross checks and stuff when you're down a piece. It's also you want to take advantage of your opponent's mindset, which is I need to trade down. I'm completely winning.
Yeah.
So that's where I know some people say like all the psychology is in classical chess, and I don't really believe that's true. I think like human beings generally operate the same way. When you're winning, you think you're winning. When you're losing, you think you're losing, and it's like you can get a lot out of that too. So to answer your question, I do play dirty. They call me Flagnus Carlson because I flag people a lot.
I did a video course once by Daniel Naroditsky, which was like how to get better at flagging your opponents, or like get better at blitz specifically. And it was all that kind of thing about tricking them by hanging pieces or breaking pre-moves, that kind of stuff, which is, purely time-based tactics.
Wait, I think you have hopefully you don't have no, I won't say hopefully, but do you have a plus record against me in blitz? It wouldn't shock me.
I I'm not sure. I think it's kind of equal. I think you may be up one. I'm not sure. Maybe I'm just being kind for the viewers. But we're pretty. I was surprised about my score against you in Blitz, to be honest. I think
it's either the streamer elo or I'm just terrified of you.
I feel like people underestimate me sometimes.
I definitely did. I mean, I think the first game we played was the B4, and I thought, okay, whatever, let's crush this noob, and I lost. So yeah, I mean, people definitely underestimate you. That's like for sure. I actually hope we get to see. Well, obviously the players can't listen to us. That would be some form of cheating. And by the way, there is extensive anti-cheating measures that will be taken by World Chess after the tournament is concluded. To make sure there's no funny business. I should mention that they have one of the best anti-cheating teams in the world, and that's obviously very good, very apropos. But yeah, so people should not be listening. But I do hope we can see some like Grob or Polish opening nonsense. That'd be fun.
Me too. I love a quirky opening, a flank opening, or anything like that. There were a couple at the last Over the Board tournament I attended in December. I wasn't playing, but one of the nice things is, checking to see which openings get played, because, everyone has their pet lines they get invested in. There was some fun stuff, like some bird with like an early knight h6 from black, and all sorts of interesting things.
What's your favorite goofy opening?
I mean, round 4 is about to start. I love the Polish, but it is kind of almost playable enough that it's not goofy.
That's a hot take.
I feel like you can't diss the Grob in a bullet game. People are afraid of it. Like low key, they are afraid of it. I know it's awful. I know it's the worst.
I love the Grob.
But in like bullet, or if you need to break a tilt in a blitz arena, people actually aren't prepped against it, and so yeah.
I think the if anyone ever plays a Grob against me, I respond with double Grob. There's no you're not getting that satisfaction. We're going back and forth.
Are you familiar with the double Grob Coca-Cola gambit?
Of course. Of course.
G4, G5, F4. It's definitely something.
When did Coca-Cola get the rights to the opening name?
Yeah, I'm not sure how they managed to get product placement there on that one, but yeah. Okay. Okay, so we have a Dutch defense.
We do have a Dutch defense here. This is some sort of reverse Sicilian now. Oh, with a G3. This is it's a bit goofy, I think we can say. We have a Russian Grandmaster Sergei Volkov facing against Praveen Prasad P, who is also underrated. This is interesting idea to trade the bishops early, despite giving up the light squares. No, sorry, despite giving up the dark squares. Sorry, guys, it's 7 a.m. here. But hoping to get that knight onto h6. This may be a little bit of a challenge, though. When if the pawns are exchanged, you have a very, very weak king side, and it's unclear kind of where the queen side pieces are going.
Yeah, I'm not so sure about this, to be honest. I mean, I've played some similar kind of things trying to get, like in the French, trying to get the light squared bishop off super early in this kind of way. But here, when you've got all your pawns on light squares and you're saying, yeah, no dark squared bishops, I'm not sure.
Although this, you trade the queens.
Oh, wow.
Because if you trade the queens, then you either have to move your king, or if you take with the knight, you lose your bishop. So
yeah. So we're moving the king either way. Black says no queen trade.
But now maybe you could just take. Because now, I mean, the queen can come and you can maybe get some sort of queen trade. But I was thinking maybe, like, why not just take the pawn and just win a piece? Or I guess if I don't know, king g6 looks suicidal to me. And now okay, so we have a trade. I guess now we're gonna get it with with captures and setting it up even.
Yeah, I'm not sold on Black's kind of king safety or king side at all, to be honest. White just seems super comfy, very happy. I mean, this knight on g4 is kind of annoying because you can't really castle long right now. Hanging. Okay. White goes for it anyway. No, you can. Sorry, the queen is covering f2. My bad. It's not 7 a.m. here, but I'm gonna use that as an excuse anyway.
It's 7 a.m. everywhere.
It's 7 a.m. everywhere. No, this I would take white any day of the week. I don't get why black has chosen this. You know.
Yeah, this is not the best opening I've ever seen, to put it mildly. It's interesting though. If it were me, I would just kind of just take this pawn and say, okay, what are you doing? But I guess then you get something a little more normal. So this is actually some very instructive stuff from our grandmaster friend, Mr. Sergei Volkov from Russia. Not rushing to take the pawn and trading. I guess you get something a little more normal. The king is suddenly an active piece. On the other hand, you do kind of want to connect your rooks, or maybe just go for this trade and get a nasty pawn on e5. Maybe later you play f4, get some connected pawns in the middle. And if not, if white says no, I don't really want this trade, then maybe now you trade and create some damage to the pawn structure. So this is an interesting idea. Let's see how black responds. What would you play here?
As black, we've seen no trade. I think this is interesting. I mean, white always has the resource h6 as well, which comes with check and claims a bit more space on the king side. But I'm not sure about trading and damaging the pawn structure, because you do give black the open b file, semi-open b file, and because black's queen side is so underdeveloped at the moment, do we really want to help them put a rook on b8, maybe even bring the bishop and the queen round?
Yeah, I think that's a very good
queen played.
It's a very good point. So now we do see some problems here for black. There's like no coordination between the queen and the rook. The king is interfering. Looks pretty unsafe. Again, capturing this knight, you can understand the reluctance to put this like strong pawn on e5. And now this is it. Now it's time to rip open the king side. The king is kind of stuck, and is kind of struggling to find safety.
Yeah, I mean, the king has been precarious throughout, but that knight, now black trading it because it was controlling f7 and d7. Like, there is no way to develop. There's no way to connect the queen and rook. As you were saying, they were completely uncoordinated. And now it seems very slow to play something like king f7, bring the rook round. White is just going to rip open the pawn structure. And I'm not sure how black gets activity.
There's also this wasn't possible, but there's this possible idea now also. If knight takes e5, you have queen d4.
Yes, and it's pinned.
So here we have, what do we have here? Now actually, this could be a little precarious. So this is, I think, a very wise decision. Attack the knight, and then you could take on c7 with a discovered attack on the queen. Yeah, this looks a little terrifying.
White can also bring their final piece in with a move like either bishop h3 or bishop b5 if we are trying to restrict the king's movement even more.
Here, maybe I think you have to look quickly at knight f6.
Yeah. Which
I think just it's not entirely winning. There's still queen c5, which defends the knight, but it's getting close. Maybe bishop h3 bishop h3, or maybe something like bishop c4. You have to be careful though. Well, bishop c4 would be a little unfortunate because you lose the piece to a knight takes c4, which would not be great. This is a good move, I think. You're threatening basically just to play queen f6 and win the rook. Yeah, I think black is in a lot of trouble here. But now you have the check. White has to block. Black has to block. But now you're going to get those discoveries somewhere. You must have a discovery somewhere with this knight. Maybe knight f4? Only a minute left for each of them, a minute and a half about. So this could get a little dangerous. Okay, so defense with the bishop. Now we just take the pawn, I guess.
Nice. Nice.
The knight is not under attack. The bishop is pinned, so we don't really have to worry about that right now. You have this idea also now of playing knight f6, attacking the rook and a discovered attack of the queen. Now, don't play it now. That would be a little unfortunate.
Okay, this sets up the same idea by defending that rook again, connecting the white rooks. And it's difficult for black because every move is a defensive move. It's hard to play when you're not the one playing actively. Offering a queen trade.
Now, to be curious, this is what I was talking about earlier, about the autopilot mode, where a lot of players sometimes will just kind of take this queen, gobble up on c7, which is what's happening, and saying, okay, I think I'm better. But this can get tricky very quickly. I think here we do have the trade. I guess now takes maybe something like f4, or even this is probably better. Just you know, you will win the pawns now.
We are up 2 pawns for white, and we have a bishop for a knight in this ending. So as long as we don't let that knight grab all of our pawns, I feel like white is pretty comfy.
There's a tactic here, I think, that just wins on the spot. F4, like here, and now after the knight moves, you give you give the skewer, and this should be GG.
Bishop G4.
Yeah, I think white played the.
This is very nice.
White played this properly. You see sometimes people kind of go autopilot mode and lose the thread a little bit, but I think now this knight is kind of struggling.
I don't see much that can be done here.
I guess maybe one thing you could try is something like knight d3, but it just resigns.
Resigns makes a lot of sense. We don't want to go down more material there as black.
We do have I think one sole leader. I think we're 4 rounds in, or now 3. More people are coming in. We have Vaibhav Suri from India. We have international master Bobir Satorov, and we have, I think it's Iranian international master. I don't see his whole name, so I don't want to butcher it. But we do have 3 people so far at 4 out of 4, which is pretty cool. I don't know. Maybe we'll see another 11-11.
Yeah, maybe. You know, it's very exciting. I feel like it's nice to get a mixture of levels as well. It's nice to see lower rated players playing against grandmasters and international masters, and I feel like that's something
beating them too.
Get that much. Yeah, and beating them like we saw earlier. You don't often get to play against titled players unless you're playing a really strong, over the board open most of the time. So
or you're really strong like me and you play them all the time. No,
exactly.
That's all jokes. We should make a little bet, a little wager. If somebody reaches 11 out of 11 again, we should do a little, like if someone reaches 11 out of 11, I will do X. I will tweet something. I will tweet Rob is the greatest chess player ever. If someone gets 11 out of 11, deal? Not good enough?
I mean, I'm so happy for you to tweet anything.
You'll have to think of something. We got time.
From your account.
Maybe the spectators.
This is an exciting next match for us to see.
Yeah, we have a world champion playing with the black pieces against one of our Arena Grandmaster friends. I think he's Arena Grandmaster, right? Or is it Arena Candidate Master? I can't actually see.
Maybe ACM, actually.
Well, yeah, we do have Jean-Guy Tan in the house. I think recently played in the Women's Candidates Tournament and was the Women's World Champion from 2017 to 2018. Let's see what we get here out of the opening.
Okay, we've got some
mega
kind
Catalan.
Of Catalan. Yeah.
Yes, ma'am.
Catalan vibes. Okay, exciting. How do you feel about the Catalan?
I like it a lot. I would never play it because I think it's become really cool, and I don't like to play with, I try to be a hipster, like a chess hipster.
Yeah.
But, obviously we saw it a lot in Bullet.
Interesting way to play it as white.
Yeah. I think with the black also, you see now going for the trade, but I think this just benefits the Grandmaster.
I'm so not sold on this for white. Like,
yeah,
knight c3, having that c pawn stuck on c2, getting tempi on the queen, trading off your fianchetted bishop. For
Giving the
me,
bishop for
everything
free, too.
seems
The bishop pair.
positionally, this strategically, this is not making a lot of sense to me. But maybe White prepared to play this kind of strange offbeat Catalan.
Yeah, this is, I mean, knight b5 is like what I would call hope chess. You know, you kind of hope you get some fork, but it's not really a super great move. Now you have to move the knight anyway. You did get some space, but you know, your one bishop can't move. You have a pawn hanging. And now Black has great control of the center. Beautiful bishops can castle whichever way. It's kind of, you know, the chess speaks for itself, in the words of one American grandmaster.
Can you hear my rooster?
I can hear your rooster. I don't know.
I'm so sorry.
I didn't know you had a rooster.
Yeah, we have a rooster. I'm so sorry.
I didn't know you had a rooster. That's actually really cool. This is the rooster gambit accepted.
It's not morning. I don't know why he's making. I don't know why he's making rooster noises. I'm so sorry.
Respectfully, Lula, the rooster is not doing it for you. It's doing it for me.
Okay, great. I'm glad. I'm glad that it's providing entertainment for you.
Because of the morning, you know.
I feel like this. Sorry, I think for me personally, as like an intermediate level player, the Catalan is the kind of opening that is so complex. It always makes me feel like I don't know how to play chess. And for me, like, oh my gosh, the rooster. For me, the way that White has played it, I'm not sold on it personally. Like, Black has the bishop pair, White has the knight pair.
G takes f6 was a hilarious move, by the way. It was just peak comedy. I mean, now the knight is actually trapped in the center of the board. Oh my
gosh, it is.
And this diagonal is super open, and you also have an open G file now for the rooks. Despite, you know, you castle kingside, now you're going to play king h8, you're going to put the rooks there, sacrifice summon, and you have like bishop h5, sorry, bishop h4 at some point. I mean, this is just absolutely disgusting. So, going to try to save the piece somehow.
I'm not sure about this. Yeah, self-pin kind of deal. Okay.
This is actually a nice try.
It's a nice try, but we are kind of helping
the fork,
Black,
though.
who wants to play. Who wants a nice pawn fork, and Black is wanting to play rook g8 anyway, and now it's just going to be up 2 pieces, and king safety for White leaves a lot to be desired as well.
Yeah, and unfortunately, you don't really have any. You don't have anything too inspiring here. You see now our world champion with the black pieces knows just to trade the queens. You're up a bishop pair. This is a decent try, but it doesn't really matter. Position kind of plays itself at this level. Just go for the pawns, push some stuff, and there's really nothing to worry about. These rooks are going nowhere. You see now you have a beautiful outpost. You give a check, you give a second check, but the whole back rank is covered, so you have no checks that'll really work unless, you know.
No, this past D pawn is actually really scary as well. Like, I don't see a way to deal.
Yeah, just D7. If you take, you just take the rook, and you have nowhere to put this. This is promoting, and you are losing a rook.
Yeah.
Here you even had something like bishop D3, and that's it.
And resigns is unsurprising in this position. Yeah, I feel like the Catalan was, you know, the idea was there, but I feel like allowing Black to get that space, not pushing c4, I wasn't super sold on the positional choice.
I think giving up your giving up the Catalan bishop so early is akin to like positional suicide. If you're playing the Catalan, you don't want to give up your dark square. I mean, you saw that bishop, the black light squared bishop was just sniping the position the whole game, and it was impossible to kind of do anything. And then you have all the coordination around that piece. So you know, for those of you picking up the Catalan or the Dragon or, you know, other hyper modern openings, do not give up that piece is you know, it's worth at least a rook, literally, like this has been shown. So
funnily enough, I gave up my Catalan bishop for a rook in a classical game, and that That bishop, oh my gosh, the rook was not worth it by any means. No
It's
way.
never worth it.
I learned the hard way. It's never
Yeah.
worth it. You never trade your fianchetted kingside bishop, ever, ever, ever. I wanted to talk a little bit about the FIDE Online Arena platform, which you were mentioning earlier, and the fact that this platform does give you online ratings and titles which are FIDE recognized, which is really cool. So if you would personally, if you're watching and you'd like to play for official rating and earn titles, we do have a promo code, and that promo code is in the description box on YouTube. It is ARMA250, ARMA250, and that will give you 25% off a pro subscription for a year. So with a pro membership, you get a FIDE ID, a profile on FIDE.com, you know, those things you need anyway to play over the board. You get access to the pro community, prize money tournaments, and much more. So things like this, you can play in events like this, chance to play against very high-rated players. I was super grateful. My federation actually signed me up for a FIDE ID. I didn't realize a lot of people have to do it themselves. It seems difficult.
Yeah, back in Europe, the Danish Chess Federation did it for me. Actually, a fun fact, despite being American, I think internationally, I am officially a Danish chess player. And I don't know if that's a problem. Yeah, but if I ever play online, I don't know if I don't even know if is it worth changing. Not sure.
I'm pretty sure it costs money to change. I don't think it's worth changing unless you have a reason to, like you want to represent your country or something like that. America,
baby. Land of the free. That's what they say.
I mean, I'd say Denmark is pretty free.
Yeah, it's pretty free. I mean, not in terms of cost. Nothing's free there.
No, that's true. I can relate. I live in an expensive place as well.
I also wanted to note that, by the way, if you use that code below on the screen, the pro membership for a year, I think costs something like 20 euros a year, which is nothing. So you get a big deal there.
Mm-hmm.
And you
can, and I've been at I've been at over the board tournaments, and people have had their titles like ACM, AGM. They do show up like when you go and play over the board chess. So it's kind of cool.
I actually did not know that. That's really cool.
Yeah, it's cool. Like one day I'll get a title, but it's cool to have it show up next to your name tag when you play over the board.
Well, you're like a WCM elect, aren't you?
Elect, yeah, not yet.
You got to get that 1800 FIDE rating?
Yeah. It's just, it's just time. Just got to play more tournaments and get it.
Yeah, you got to play more tournaments. When's your next tournament? What's your next tournament?
My next tournament is the festival, the board game festival in Cannes in February.
Is that the same Cannes as like Cannes Film Festival?
Yeah, it is.
They have a board game festival.
Yeah, they have, there's like a chess tournament, a Scrabble tournament, and a checkers tournament, I think. It's cool. Yeah, and there's like an expo center with board games and stuff. I'm really excited. I love board games. So I'm playing the chess tournament, and then I'm going to check out the board games there.
Board game spelled B-O-R-E-D. That was a little reference to Norm Macdonald. May it rest in peace. Those who get it, whatever. That flopped.
I didn't get it.
Yeah,
sorry.
That was miserable.
I'm sorry.
I'll have to send you the link. But
I'm sorry, David.
That flopped miserably. That was so bad. I hear booing. Yeah, that was pretty terrible.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. I think I was too British to get that joke.
Yeah, that comedian Norm Macdonald was very Canadian, aggressively Canadian, and old-timey. So, but yeah, he has this bit where he said like board spelled B-O-R-E-D, and it's like really funny. But I tried to, I was calling Scrabble boring. But Scrabble's not boring. Scrabble's actually pretty fun.
I'm not good at Scrabble. Like, I have a literature degree, but Scrabble I'm still not good at all. I feel like it's doesn't actually test your like language skills. I think it just tests your like puzzle solving, pattern recognition skills. Like it's kind of similar to Sudoku, or like it's just kind of about reshuffling things rather than actual like linguistics.
Did you ever do like the spelling bee?
No, it's not so much a thing in the UK.
Not to brag, I was a New York City citywide finalist for 2 years in the spelling bee. So,
Round 6 is starting very soon. I heard, I don't know if this is true or if this is just one of those things you see online. I heard that other languages don't have spelling bees because everyone just knows how to spell everything.
yeah, well, English is uniquely messed up in that, we have influence from everywhere. So, like, for example,
It's
something
true.
I learned recently, like, how come you say goose and geese, right? Like, one goose, two geese,
Yeah.
but one moose and two moose. It's always plural. It would be meese,
Yeah.
wouldn't it? It has to do with,
Yeah.
that I think one comes from like French or German or whatever. That's the geese. And then the
Yeah.
other one comes from Native American, where it was always like plurals. So like the language
that's
conventions
cool.
stay. Yeah, it's very
Mhm.
interesting actually.
Yeah, it's kind of easy to trace language, like the origins of words based on like Germanic or French influence, based on kind of how complicated the word is. Okay, round 6.
E4, E5.
Oh, we have a Roy Lopez. Yes. Okay, I've recently started playing the Roy Lopez, and I am in love with it. Honestly, I really enjoy it. Okay.
We get a Berlin draw? No,
No.
that would be
We're not
hilarious.
gonna see that. We're not gonna see that.
1500s play a quick Berlin draw. That's I think hell freezes over when that happens. This is like pretty mainline theory though. This is some good stuff. Okay, C5, quick push in the center.
Are we gonna get a closed center? Okay, this is spicy. I hope we get some like super aggressive kingside stuff from white. I'd love to see that.
I don't really love C4 very much because this knight looks a little silly and it's
I
kind of
agree.
unclear where it's going. Now the knight looks really silly.
Yeah, that bishop on B7 is totally misplaced here. It's got no business staring at that D5 pawn, sorry.
Biting on granite, as I was saying. Now this knight is coming to F5.
Indeed, yeah.
Gary Kasparov.
Yeah, knight on F5.
Yes, I was gonna. So
would
you know the
be-
quote, right? Well, actually, no. we have knight G4 instead.
Yeah, I'm not so sold on knight G4. I mean, in my heart, the knight went to F5, but I mean, I don't see much point in grabbing a tempo on this F6 bishop because black just wants that knight on F6.
That's
So
a
you're
very
just
good
helping
point.
black.
Right. Although maybe now you can develop the bishop. Okay, so now we're gonna
I
get.
don't love this.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of unclear. Now this bishop is coming. The knight can move. King H1.
Okay. So white definitely wants to have some kingside attack of some kind, but it's hard with that knight on H2 because it can only really go to G4, and we don't want to trade our kingside minor pieces because that's the side of the board where we're strongest. It's where we're playing. Black's got all of these uncoordinated pieces on the queen side, and white really needs to strike whilst we've got an advantage on the king side. I might even have considered playing F5 as white to just close things up.
Instead, well, we have an exchange here. Yeah, I think F4 here is not as powerful without you need to have that rook on F1, but you don't normally have the rook on F1. So I don't know. I think white's in a little bit of trouble.
Thematic. Yeah, I feel like white definitely needed to play maybe slightly more urgently in this position. And there are some amazing games in the Roy Lopez closed center. You can see even played by like Judith Polgar, and she absolutely tears things apart with like closing up the center, pushing G4, G5, and just hammering away at black's castled king. And that is what I would have loved to see here.
There is this idea maybe of playing something like Queen G3, although that does walk into Knight H5. But the idea is simple, to attack this weak pawn on D6. Our friend with the black pieces is choosing to do so in a different way. This is a very creative way to attack the queen.
Interesting idea. Yeah, creative, for sure. I mean, D7 as a square is incredibly well protected, so I'm not sure if we're going to be pushing that D pawn. But it's very creative, like this pawn sack and then pushing, opening things up again. realizing that we're not attacking on the king side and then going for this.
There is an important detail to note is that this bishop, which was kind of stuck behind those pawns on e4 and d5, this bishop I'm alluding to the one on c2, sorry, it's wide open now. And now, I mean, there could be an exchange of queens, which I think now you take with a knight and...
Yeah, it favors white. We're redeveloping our worst piece, which is the h2 knight, completely out of the game. White has a gorgeous bishop pair, I have to say. With this now open center, I really love that bishop on c2.
I do think that this pawn now will become a liability.
Yeah, it doesn't look like something we're keeping.
No. Although now, you maybe have... Yeah, this is what I was going to say. You can maybe try this, but you're never, like you said before, you're never really pushing d7. It's super well protected.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't have time to get sort of knight e5 and then protecting, kind of overprotecting d7 to try and push it. I don't know.
This is tricky.
It seems, yeah, it's a difficult position. I feel like in these, like, Ruy Lopez positions, a lot of the venom comes from having...
But now this takes. I think there's this threat of taking. Oh, it was stopped. I think before you had this chance maybe to take on h7 and then take the rook. With the king would have been moved. Although it is hard. Like now, it is actually hard to get this because you will lose a pawn if you move the knight. So yeah, you have to play something like this first. But now you have time maybe to play knight e5. Yes. And now what do you do? What's the killing blow? Maybe bishop e4? Bishop e4 followed by bishop c6 wins the bishop. And this is also like a try, but I think here you just take the pawn. I don't know. Who would you prefer here? Like, would you prefer white or black?
It's tricky. Maybe even black, because we've got these advanced pawns on the queen side, which if you're playing the Ruy Lopez as white and you are closing up that center with d5, you are kind of going to want to paralyze the queen side, which is something white didn't do. And so yeah, now I'm not so sure. I feel like this is definitely a drawable ending. For both sides could draw. Black is the only one I think who's going to try and play for a win.
I think with the same color bishops.
Okay.
Yeah. With the same color bishops though, you have the outside passer on one side, the majority on the other side. I think black is probably winning this.
Yeah.
You need to be careful.
Black
though.
Definitely has chances. It's tricky. I mean, white's king is pretty well placed.
But here, maybe you just push. No, you
yeah, I
push.
thought pushing. I don't know. Pushing was possible, I think.
Now the majority runs forward. I think this will end in a draw, though. Actually, yeah, you can. I would not take. Yeah, I would play this. You push the pawn. Now you have to be very careful. You push the pawn and yeah, so you have to do something like this. But now maybe you play king c5. The bishop has to move. This is tricky. This is not over yet. This is very tricky.
It's easy to lose for sure.
Yeah, this is tricky.
In Blitz, I'm not sure if a kind of under master level, if a drawn ending in Blitz exists.
Oh wait, you can push the pawn though. No, you can't push the pawn. The bishop just takes. Okay, now you take, and actually now it looks like white is winning. You take, so don't trade. White would be winning. Although I think I don't know if there's any way to stop the pawn. I'll critically look at the queening square. The queening square is a dark square. We have light square bishops, so
this is nice. This has been very, very careful. Very nice.
But yeah, I think
the fact that the white bishop covers h5 is nice, because black never had the chance to push that pawn and protect it.
I think black was definitely better, but something happened. This is some careless play in time trouble.
I'm not sure if white can win this. It's a rook pawn.
I think this is a draw, probably.
I think so, because even though white can waste moves with their bishop, black can do the same.
Even if you trade off the bishops, I think that the king is in the spot right now to...
Yeah, exactly. Black's king is in a safe enough spot. However, this is 5-0 blitz. We're going to see white... Oh!
I guess they
Was
agreed to
that
draw.
a draw? Yeah, I was going to say we're going to see white try and flag black here, but no, very respectively, they agreed to a draw.
Yeah, so that was a fun game. That's one of those... Well, you know, I'm not a big fan of mainline
Roy
Ruy
Lopez?
Lopez. Well, I love the Ruy Lopez
Aw.
actually. I used to play the exchange Ruy Lopez like religiously. But it's a little more offbeat.
Exchange. Yeah.
Bobby Fischer played the exchange Ruy Lopez.
I'm
like,
not
a lot.
dissing the exchange Roy Lopez. I'm just okay. I talked with my coach. He was like, "Do you want to play the exchange? Do you want to play, mainline?" And I was like, I want to be a bishop girly. I want to be a bishop pair person, because when I feel like when you start out, knights are king. You got those forks, the royal forks. You're forking everything with the knights. But I think when you improve and you learn the power of a fully activated bishop pair, it's just like nothing else. It's like it can be better than a queen even sometimes. Bishops are so powerful. So I was like, I really want to be a bishop person. And so I was like, I want to learn how to use them properly. I don't want to play the exchange Roy Lopez.
So you're saying you grew up from playing like you're too good for the knights. You grew up. You went to college.
No. Knights are great. Don't get me wrong. I love them. Obviously, there are some positions where knights are better. Closed positions, bishops can be really terrible. But you've got to learn how to use pieces.
I'm not tolerating the knight slander, but I've been more of a rook guy myself. It's
really? Nah.
No, because people always do the knights versus bishops, but the rooks, they're worth more. And they can checkmate people. People forget about the rooks. In theory.
In theory, they're worth more, but...
Listen, can you checkmate with a single rook? Yes. What about with a single bishop? Oh, wait, you can't. Oops.
No.
Yeah, too bad.
Okay.
Yeah, so,
Okay.
Anyway, not to belabor the point here, my unhinged 8:11 a.m. rant. We have D4, this international master from Australia, playing against Dandel Fernandez from the Philippines, Arena Grandmaster.
We have a King's Indian.
Yeah,
mainline?
This is
it mainline?
Yeah, the bishop, the Fianchetto bishop.
No.
It's a little goofy, like this.
It's interesting. Wow.
Yeah.
Black is like, I'm gonna win now.
So I mean, F3 is an interesting move. You do want to play something like Knight F4. On the other hand, you are opening all these dark squares. This bishop, this King's Indian bishop is it's like that meme, the guy like going his hands like this, like licking his lips. Although the position the bishop has just now suddenly been closed, as I say this.
It's true, but black is also preventing Knight F4. And to be honest, black's queen does look a little bit precariously placed on h5, especially now that you're not getting Knight G4 and like immediate checkmate threats, which I think is exactly what black was going for, to be honest, funnily enough.
Black does have this idea just to play, bishop h3, exchange bishops, put the queen back on h3, and then move it back somewhere. So the queen, but it does look a little stupid. It looks a little goofy.
I like this G5 stuff. Although, one main idea in the King's Indian that we haven't seen is like Knight E8 F5. Like we want to push that F pawn surely.
And here we're actually closing off the king side temporarily. You do have ideas at some point to play like h4, use the lever, pawn lever.
White is going to get a nice powerful knight, I think.
Yeah, knight will come to either h5 or h5. We'll have to see. But this bishop is terrible, so now I think
Yeah,
maybe
f5.
I don't know. Do
I
you take?
think I I don't think you want to be giving up your light squared bishop. I feel like this King's Indian did not go the way Black wanted it to.
This looks like how I play the King's Indian, which is why I don't play the King's Indian.
Yeah, I feel like we really needed a quick f5 push. Now there's this clamp on the light squares, and Black is not making progress. Do you think that maybe Black is going to play h5 at some point? Oh, we have h4 from White.
Just with the plan to just kind of rip open the king side. Now you can even consider a move like h5, or you could, I mean, trading I don't think is necessarily it's something I don't know, in a blitz game I wouldn't trade.
I like this move, king f2.
Yeah, that's
Knight
a very
h7 was actually an important move, because if h5 the queen was swiftly running out of squares, it was going to have to go to h7.
Now we get the exchange. Because
yeah.
Black realized that this piece is not doing anything.
Yeah, I'm not sold on this.
No, I think I think Black is in a lot of trouble.
How do you win this as White? Do you take on g5? Do you play rook h1 and say, I'm gonna come in, I'm gonna open up that h file? Yeah, rook h1, that's what we do.
I was gonna say there's no rush to take. I mean, you take, you're just opening more lines. This king on f2 is actually really not doing too bad. It's kind of chilling. You also have this very important square to go knight e4 like whenever you want in your pocket, so there's really no rush. I mean, I would play knight e4 in the next move.
Yeah, knight e4 is very nice. It's like a free move because you're grabbing that tempo on the queen. And, you know, maybe we'll play some combination of that and like rook h2 double on the h file.
I think
and then
maybe here you take. Yeah.
Take? Yeah.
So knight takes. Maybe now you take. You could consider taking. You could even consider here, I think, just going. Well, yeah.
Just win a pawn, right?
Yeah. I think here you just take. Will you take with the bishop or with the knight? That's a good question.
I was wondering if there was like any f6 stuff after. I might be persuaded to take with the. Okay. I was gonna say maybe I'd be persuaded to take with the bishop, because the knight, if it managed to get to g5 later, but yeah, there is just this move f6 and no pieces going there. Okay, I really like bishop h6 actually, because takes, rook takes, or queen takes.
You have to take with the queen. Yeah, but this is looking pretty tough. The queen has to move. You're threatening just rook g6. You could still play rook g6. You could double the rooks too. I would play rook g6 probably.
Rook g6 is nice. Another, free tempo on the queen, and then we have rook dh1, and we're coming in.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. And then you also have a move like g5 at some point, which just opens the diagonal. Here, I think, h1 is magnificent. This is
g5 is classy.
This is a sad game for this is a King's Indian gone horribly wrong. Looks like me playing the King's Indian.
King's Indian fans everywhere are gonna be weeping. I'm not a King's Indian girly myself, but I can, this must be a tough one.
This is the nightmare scenario for the King's Indian fans. But King's Indian fans are usually crying. That's like, it's part of the job.
True. And we have a resignation. Yeah, makes perfect sense here. That was, we didn't get the kingside play that Black needs there to make the King's Indian a fighting kind of game for Black.
I think
White just got so much space.
If you had to rate like chess players in terms of how neurotic they are or how depressed they are, I think the King's Indian players and the French defense players they're up there. They're like 90th percentile. You have to like
I play the French.
I play the French too. We suffer a little bit. We can admit it.
Okay, but like Kasparov and like Judith Polgar and stuff have played the King's Indian. What do you think that says?
Well, they're a little bit masochistic.
I don't
think
think
it's
they
the
would
worst
agree.
one. Well, you have to. It's pain and pleasure.
I think
two sides
they-
of the same coin.
I
You're
think
telling
they
me
play
that
the
you
King's
find-
Indian to go super aggro. I
Yeah,
mean,
but then, like,
fine.
when
The
you-
French defense is definitely love-hate in a different way, though.
Oh, in a very different way. I mean,
Yeah.
it's two different levels of. I mean, I think if you play the King's Indian, you need to you have to enjoy those losses. There's a good book. I think it's by Ilya Smirin on the King's Indian. He wrote this book, and he puts a bunch of his favorite wins of his in the King's Indian and some other instructional games, and then he also puts two of his favorite losses. And he writes that you have to be able to enjoy the losses, and I think that that really describes the King's Indian. I was playing the King's Indian all of last year, getting pretty deep into the theory, learning it, studying it very seriously, and I reached the conclusion that I don't enjoy the losses. I think they actually just genuinely hurt. They make you want to quit chess. But some people love it. I've met people who love, good wins, bad wins, good losses, bad losses. They take all of it. It's like a lifestyle. So
I think you have to have played an amount of chess to start appreciating your losses. I don't think I've played enough chess to be yeah, okay, I have to lose sometimes. It's still too raw. It still hurts. I'm still very I'm going through my chess. It's still too formative for me.
I will always hate losing. It's I'm never happy.
Yeah.
I mean, sometimes every now and then you play somebody who finishes it with a brilliant combo, and you can clap your hands for a second and then say, okay,
Yeah.
nice.
No, I've definitely had a game where I was just kind of in awe of my opponent, just very respectful that they just crushed. But here we have top place player on 6.5 points, so we're not going to get an 11 out of 11 this week.
Which means you're not getting a tweet from me. So
No?
too bad. Nah.
I'm disappointed. That should have been something for if they get 10.5.
Yep. Well, we can still do it, but it's not going to be as nice. Yeah, but
it's
actually,
still anyone's tournament though.
yeah, there's. I mean, we have a clear leader. It's this Mongolian
true.
international master, but we still do have people at 6 points, and now all the top boards are going to start playing each other and kind of settle the scene. So we're only 4 rounds left. So this is getting exciting.
Yeah, it's still pretty close. The top 3 are only half a point, and then we've got a couple of people on 5.5. See, the game's still going on. We've got a couple of people on 6. Anyone in the top 10 could still win, to be honest.
But, there are actually some of the big names. Where is Sasakiran? Where is Anand? Not Vishy Anand, but I don't actually see them in the standings.
No.
It's a bit surprising. Maybe their game is still going, but still,
Maybe
you would
they didn't
expect
have a
it.
gamer mouse.
Had to quit to pull out.
We're about to start the next round, round 8. I'm excited. This is fun. These games have been really instructive, but also there's been a lot of good fighting chess.
Yeah, there's been some great games so far. I've had a lot of fun. Hope you guys at home are enjoying. If you're just joining us right now, this is the Armageddon Online Cup for the Asian Oceania region, and we currently have a clear leader at 6.5 points. We have some guys chasing him behind at 6 points. We have 4 rounds left to go, so stick with us. We're about to get into another game.
Yes, thank you so much, guys, for hanging out with us today. I'm really enjoying this commentary, and I hope you are too. We have 2 players here rated around 1600. So this might be our first kind of, if their ratings are accurate, this might be our first kind of balanced game in terms of matchups. And this is what happens in a Swiss, is it takes a couple of rounds, before you get people of the same strength playing each other.
Here we go. We have our French. Not exchange, please. Nothing. Thank you.
No, we have an advanced French. This is okay. So we both play this as black. Neither of us play it as white. Like you said, you play the classical. I play the Tarash.
Queen b6 right here. That's probably what you play.
Yeah, Queen b6, Bishop d7, that kind of thing. Maybe trying for black to get a knight to f5.
This is an interesting move. I think the move I see a lot when I'm playing is really early
I don't see f6. This is very early. Yeah, I mean takes I'm not so sure of because you do just help black develop this knight. But there is this backwards pawn now on e6, which I mean we would probably want to get castled.
Yeah, I think both sides.
Knight a3 is definitely a move. I mean, a lot of the time I see it come around to c2 to support that d4 pawn.
And actually here, I think black is already better.
I agree. Black for sure is the only one with a center. And we are going to push that e-pawn, which was a backwards pawn. It's now just going to come forwards, I think, very soon.
94.
We just have to not hang it.
Yeah, 94 is probably a little too early, but there was a chance. Yeah, this is but you also have you have a move like Bishop a6, double the rooks. Can be a little messy. So this is actually why Rook f6 was played. I think the next move is going to be Bishop a6, and you are defending this pawn, which would otherwise be hanging.
Yeah.
Although
grabbing a tempo on that f1 rook as well. Okay.
Yeah, I was gonna say that white does get some say in it, but I don't know. Now you have a backwards pawn on c3. The knight is looking at it. That's I guess you just take the bishop. You could have just taken the bishop with a knight and have the bishop pair.
Yeah, we could have grabbed the bishop. It's true. I mean, I guess that knight on e4 is nice, and maybe black's not psychologically ready to let go of it yet. But
although here you have a beautiful tactic here. You could play e5 followed by bishop h3. I think it works. Okay, this also is fine. It's e5. You had to move the knight, and then yeah, I think that was working. Now what do we do?
Very nice attacking ideas from you, David.
Always. And I think here you could still push the pawn, and if the bishop moves, I think you could still maybe play e5. Oh, this is also a good idea. Trying to sacrifice. You see that this f2 pawn is very, very, very soft. It's deceptively.
It is. Yeah. It's going to be tricky for white to defend, I think. Black has super active pieces, great bishop pair, and fully activated rooks. White, on the other hand, I mean, there's a nice knight on d4, but it can get kicked away. You know, it's not a permanent feature of the position. And I feel like the h4 bishop is actually kind of bad. Like, kind of misplaced.
It's horrible.
Yeah.
I think it's a really bad piece.
Yeah, I mean, I think that if white can get rid of that knight on e4, which I don't think they can very easily, obviously like bishop g3, and we want to trade off black's super strong bishop on d6, but that's not looking very realistic in the near future.
Yeah, here we go. Now you need to move this knight, but this is just going to open up even more problems. Where's the knight going? I guess you have to put it like somewhere like c2 or b3.
Yes. Very important to note that the knight cannot go to e2 because there is rook takes f3, which cannot be recaptured because of the pinned pawn on g2.
And I think the next move is probably going to be. I mean, I would not be surprised to see something like. If it were me, I just go for it. If I knew it was on TV, I just play rook takes f3. I don't even, don't calculate, don't do nothing. White is having a think and sacrifices the
whole knight.
Sacrifices the whole knight. What's the idea here? Is there some? Yeah, this is a great move. This just kind of stops any nonsense, and now you will lose the knight.
Yeah. I'm not even sure what white was going for.
Beats me. I don't know. I guess I actually think I might see that there's this idea to take There's the idea to actually take the knight. Imagine the bishop wasn't there. To take the knight with rook takes e4, you cannot take back because of the pin. There's like so I think that was the idea.
Terrible. See, like I said earlier, we're just grabbing that f3 knight.
Yeah.
And things are really falling apart. Okay, this is nice. Because we get to take on c4.
Yeah, I believe this is this is tough. I guess here, yeah, you just take the rook
with check. Yeah,
this does come with check. This is fine though. You don't have a dark square piece to contest the pin. You can just move the queen back. Let's say queen c7, move your king, and you're completely okay. And now the dust is settling, and black is simply up a rook.
A whole rook, yeah. It's very hard to play on when you're down this much material, but you have to keep trying to create chances, I guess. The problem is as well, though, that bishop g3 move I mentioned earlier should pretty much now be out of the question. We don't want to trade more pieces, but where does that piece go? There's nowhere else for it.
Now we should be a little careful. If we take, there is this possibility for a check. Are we worried? I would say no, but still be careful. It splits, and here this is a good move. Just attack the bishop.
So we're forcing some trades here.
Yeah, I mean, you think you're losing this? I guess what are you gonna play? Like you play g3. I think you could be even goofy. Yeah, you just go for the trade.
Well, g3, there's g5.
Now you see a problem here. Black and yeah.
Yeah, this is gonna be.
Now you could take on g3
over very quickly. Yeah.
And yep.
This is forced mate, I think. Yeah.
Yep. I want to make a note. Our wonderful production team just informed me. If you look at the standings, you will see this 1600. What's the 1600 doing here? Well, apparently.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, GB Vachier-Lagrave is 2400 FIDE. So there you go.
Wow, that makes a lot of sense. Wait, is he the guy we saw beat the IM earlier? I think maybe
yes. I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes a whole lot more sense now, knowing that he's 2400 FIDE.
Well, like I said, you cannot trust these ratings. And he's use it to your advantage. You're underrated. People come think they can go for.
You have the psychological advantage.
Yeah, it's like no joke. It's no joke.
It's real for sure. No, I find that people put way too much stock in the rating they're playing against. I've started playing in like pretty much every chess website has like some kind of focus mode where you can hide the ratings. I've started doing that every time because I feel like I get affected by it as well. It's definitely a thing.
I think for me it actually affects me negatively. Like if I go on focus mode, like I've tried it and I've concluded that I've concluded that for me personally, it's better to see the rating, because if I see I'm playing like a national master or if I'm like a FIDE master, sometimes I match up against them. Like I want to crush them, and like so I play better. Yeah. Like we said, who currently leading the tournament, Vachier-Lagrave. Apparently it says 1692. That's not true. He's 2400 rated.
2400 FIDE, and he is on 7 out of 8.
Yeah, with 3 rounds to go, it's very impressive. I guess doesn't even have a title. Maybe that's an error with his FIDE. Maybe, I don't know. But that's very surprising to be 2400 without a title. Not unheard of. There's this like one.
No, it happens.
Yeah, there's this one national master in Russia who is like something like 2500, but because he's in Russia and there are all these strong players, he just can't make the norms. It's very funny.
Yeah.
Like
oh no. Strong... Okay. He's an IM. I just checked.
Oh, he's an IM.
Yeah, IM. Vachier 2003. Wow. I wish I was that accomplished. When I was 20, but no. Awesome. Yeah. I am 2434 rated right now.
Wow.
So still, an IM is leading. We've got a ton of GMs in this arena, so he's doing really well. Oh, Even if he is 2400, it's still like you were saying earlier, we don't have the top seeded players in the top 5.
Yeah, it's very surprising.
Yeah.
I mean, do we have any the top 2? Yeah, neither one of them is grandmasters, which is very interesting because we did have an IM last time, but he's an extremely strong blitz player, who's he's like one of the strongest blitz players on chess.com. I know I think it's Am I Terrible is his chess.com handle. He's like 3000 blitz, so it wasn't that surprising. But here, we got some surprising names here. All the top guys, I'm not really seeing them there, but obviously it's 3 rounds to go. This is the home stretch. This is actually the stretch that matters the most in a tournament. It's the final few games. This is where you got to get that.
Yeah, the final few games is so much more, tense because it's close and we know who the front runners are, and there's only kind of half a point or a point between everybody who's in the top. So
who are we watching here?
So we have 2 players. We have a FIDE master from India, and we have a 2100 from the Philippines. Is that?
Yeah, I think it's the Philippines. Both at 4.5.
Yep.
Obviously, we'll be keeping our eyes on the standings, but let's get our game.
I want to see a quirky opening. Okay, we have E4. Sicilian. Okay. I'm always happy to see a Sicilian. We have a closed Sicilian, right?
A6, G3.
Okay.
This is definitely this
queenside space.
I think we got what you wanted. This is definitely quirky.
For a Sicilian, this is definitely quirky. It's not. Yeah, it's non-standard. It's non-standard because we've got black saying, I don't need to grab the center right now. I'm just gonna push my H pawn. Wow, this is fun.
Yeah, why not? This is gonna be a fun game.
I love a good H pawn push, to be honest. I mean, I think everybody does. I love this. I think this is fun. This weird closed position where none of the pawns are really touching. Okay, this is cool because black's king is still in the center.
Sacrificing a pawn, seemingly. Allowing captures on E6, opening the F file. This is a bit crazy.
Yeah, usually this would be a no-go.
Do not try this at home.
I mean, that knight on F4 is nice, but we need to be careful to never let black push H3. Maybe white is going to play H3, but then that bishop on G2 is not very good. So we do have this semi-open, or no, this completely open F file, but how do we exploit it? Black is about to long castle. There is no queen F3, that just hangs the queen, so it's harder to get the pieces in than it looks like it should be.
And Lula, I love this move. Just opening the diagonal now. You could play bishop H3 and
yeah, I like bishop
attacking.
H3. Yeah, I'm kind of afraid of that G pawn though. Is it just gonna hang? Are we gonna have to play knight H3? Like, what's gonna happen? Are we gonna
Well, I think if it takes, you have so king H8 makes sense. But you still have knight takes E6 with the threat of a fork as well.
Yeah, that is true. I like king H1 a lot because, like, opening up this G file, black actually is not ready to attack. So.
And now this would be interesting. Where does the knight go? Do you go a little crazy? Do you play knight D5? No, this would be a little too much, even for me. I guess now B3.
I mean, B3 I don't think is too bad because it always gives knight B2 to C4 rerouting, which I like, to be honest, because it also questions black. What are you doing with that backwards D6 pawn? If it gets down to it, are we going to have some central clarification later on?
Right. And I think, again, just like that Catalan game, taking this knight would be akin to some sort of positional suicide, giving up that bishop. I don't know. I was curious. Maybe we would see some. I mean, this is still dangerous for white. Let's not get this twisted. This could still be very messy.
I agree. Yeah, for sure. I kind of don't mind though that black got to castle as white because. Black still has to babysit that E6 pawn, which is very weak and being eyed up.
Can you just take now, or maybe? You could take with the knight even.
Yeah, you can. So taking with the bishop with check, we definitely. I wouldn't trade for that sleepy knight on g8. So
Yeah, I don't think
definitely not.
that's a good point. I don't think we really care about that piece. But now I think you need to get this dark square bishop game into the game somehow.
Yeah, I mean, long-term plan, I would maybe consider rerouting our knight on a4 through that route I suggested earlier, b2, c4, and then if there's any movement in the center, maybe we get some kind of either bishop d2 or bishop e3. Bishop d2, maybe we would even try and push c3 ourselves to try and open up, the b file and the c file, seeing as that's where black's king has been castled, and maybe we want to try and attack.
I think it's a great point, and actually now I think we may actually just see this idea that you pointed out. Knight b2, knight c4, then you have knight a5 coming. Also a good move. Just trading the if we count the material, I mean, what's the balance? I guess like, is white up a pawn? I think so. But it's messy.
White is up a couple of pawns, but yeah, it's not super clear. I feel like there is definitely a lot of counterplay for black, and what black does have is the pawns are like surrounding his king, whereas white's king, if black manages to like stack on the h file, could be a bit precarious, could be a little bit worrying. I like this just infiltrating.
Yeah, hoping to just capture this pawn and then bring the knight back to f5, where it can't really be captured or anything, really.
Yeah, I mean, I think maybe my plan of rerouting that a knight might have been a little bit slow on such an open kind of king side that we have. Maybe it would have given black too much of an opportunity to attack us. But I still think that this position is a really difficult one to play for both sides.
Here we go. We have.
Yeah, I think we're gonna see some pressure on the h file, but it's not indefensible. We already have a rook on g2, queen e2. Yeah.
Yeah, this definitely no need to panic here. We have plenty of defense. There's no need to.
Yeah, we also have kind of bishop f4, and that bishop can maybe even sit on g3.
Yeah, you could put. I mean, you could also put a rook on f1, rook f1, rook f2. This is also, I think, a very good move.
Yeah, I mean, white is definitely kind of reacting to black now, but all of a sudden, black's threats are very real. This is kind of an idea we talked about earlier. We knew this was possible.
Yeah, and so he just moves back.
Do you trade? Maybe not, because then we just get the other knight coming into d4.
Oh, we do have a trade, though.
Okay.
Nice move.
Yeah,
this is a fantastic
very
move.
Nice.
You're threatening the check, and then you can the check wins the bishop, and regardless, you still can.
Yeah, may win even more than the bishop with that knight on a4, maybe even coming in after the check. Okay, black obviously doesn't allow it.
I think we need your idea, though. I think we need to play. Oh, this is also.
Yeah,
I guess...
this is nice. I mean, I do wish our knight was better, but I guess the knight on d4 isn't actually doing much either. It's not like we're basically playing a piece down. Although now we have lost the idea of like rerouting that piece, and it's going to have to take a much longer journey via d1, I think.
Oh, but you have this. Where
yeah,
at least
this is
now
cool.
This knight actually, well, I mean, you could bring it back, which is true, but if you bring it back, then you're going to take, and you're actually going to open up on the c file. You're going to open up another attack on the king.
Yeah, I'm not sold on that for black. So yeah, now we are allowed to get our knight back into the game. But now, okay, we are in huge time trouble as white, though, is something that can't be underestimated. We're down a whole minute.
There's a cool move here, I think, which is knight takes d5. If the king takes, you can actually play queen to d7 and win the bishop, and maybe even get close to some checkmate.
That's a very, very nice little tactic. That's very cool.
That's why they pay me the big bucks. Yeah, here you can consider it maybe. But I mean, this is scary. You have to be
It's hard
very, very
to see
careful.
with 20 seconds on the clock, you know. It's
Wait, you have to check now. Check, block. Okay, this trade.
Okay, everything's coming off, but you know, white is not going to be able to checkmate, I don't think, with 13 seconds. This is the brutal thing about 5-0.
Yeah, and the rook blockades, it's very hard to the bishop is hanging.
Bishop falls, but 6 seconds. We're just pre-moving, I think, at this point.
Yeah, now the black pawns are running wild.
We can give checks, but that's it, and we're out of checks already.
Yep.
This was a really nice imbalanced game, to be honest. It could have gone either way early on, but it's very straightforward to pile up on the H file, whereas getting to black's king over there on the queen side required more complex strategy and planning, I think, which is much more demanding in a 5-0 game.
I think black got rewarded for playing more ambitiously. White had all the, as I saw it, had all the advantages and was not, didn't see the urgency and took too much time. Definitely lesson learned there. Now they're on 5.5. If we look at the standings, actually, we do have someone on 8 out of 9.
Ooh, see, it's anybody's tournament still.
And we have 2 rounds to go. We have the FM from Turkey leading. We're about to get into our final 2 games, actually. So we have a person at 8 out of 9, someone at 7 out of 9, then we have a bunch of people at 7. So really the people to pay attention to is those who are at 7 out of 9 right now, because I would suspect that it's actually going to be one of those guys who's going to make it to the qualifying. Somebody in that group is going to go 2 for 2, finish with 9 out of points, which hopefully will get them to the promised land. Actually, that note, who are we seeing? Let's see.
So we have a game here between 2 1500s. This is going to be fun. This is going to be spicy. We have an Arena FIDE Master, 1550 rated versus a 1583 from India, both on 4.5 points. And I think that if you're kind of not in the top 10 but you're still wanting to have a strong finish, the games still stay very, very fun, very spicy. Whereas I think if you're at the top in these kinds of tournaments, maybe you play more solidly in the end. You don't want to drop points. I don't know. Do you have strategy, like metagaming, for this kind of thing personally, David?
Well, first we need to keep in mind that there are still money prizes, right, for whole top 10.
It's true.
So
yeah, exactly.
There's absolutely no point to just kind of throw in the towel at this point. I mean, even if you're at 4 or 5, you could finish with 6.5 points and maybe have a shot. I would say maybe 6.5 out of 11 is not enough. But a lot of these people who are sitting right now in like 4th place or whatever, don't give up. For me, it's hard. I'm a very emotional player, I would say, so I can get tilted very, very easily. I think in an ideal world, you stay composed and regardless of what the tournament situation is, you just try to get those wins. But for me, it's always easier to have wins in my pocket. If I have wins in my pocket and I'm feeling good, I guess like the dream tournament for me, like if we're talking like meta strategy, is like even to like lose some games in the beginning, but finish strong, because you're going to be paired. That's actually like a Miro,
like a
GM
Swiss Gambit.
Well, I because let's say you start a tournament like here. Let's say you start 5 out of 5. Okay, now the rest of the tournament you're going to be suffering with like the strongest people.
Yeah,
that's not always ideal.
Yeah, for sure. No, I played a tournament once and I won the first couple of games. I ended up playing against the highest seeded player. You set yourself up for difficulties by doing really well early on. I agree.
G5, by the way, what a move.
G5, black having not committed their king to the king side, so not too concerned about weakening those light squares. Yeah,
We-
I mean, sorry, you go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say we haven't really talked about this opening, but this is a perk defense or a pierce or a perk, whatever. I don't know what people say. Everybody pronounces it differently. I don't trust anybody
I
anymore.
think it's a Pitts.
Yeah, I
But
know
everyone pronounced it perk, which is wrong, right?
it's supposed to raise like I think it's like Slovenian or something. I don't know exactly
It's named after
where.
a player, yeah.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
what do you think about the pierce?
I don't rate it that highly, but then again, I think for we're both intermediate level players, and I think that a lot of people jump towards modern hypermodern openings way too soon. I think you need good foundations, and I think the difficult thing about hypermodern openings is you have to have like a really masterful understanding of pawn breaks, which everyone's like, oh, I know what a pawn break is. Yeah, but it's kind of like hard to always be making the right ones. And so that's why I'm not super sold all the time on openings like this, especially for improvers.
I think this position, by the way, looks very dangerous for white. Black has all the space. It's not really clear, like you said, the pawn breaks. But this time for white, I mean, it's not really clear. Like, do you take? Do you push? You have to kind of calculate everything in a blitz game. So this is, the classic blitz autopilot where you say, okay, whatever, I'll just take and see what happens. But I'm not really sure who this benefits. Look at this king. He's bare. You castle king side. The white king is bare.
I think white had very principled ideas. They were like, I'm gonna control, all the center. I'm gonna get my pieces out. But black has been kind of playing the long game. Like they haven't castled yet. They're waiting to see. They're waiting to see where white commits the king and then opposite side castling. We have a5 already on the board. b5 is definitely coming, and it's gonna be kind of scary. I think white actually does want to trade off some minor pieces.
Well, yeah, I think black is going to play some goblin mode chess. It's an excellent move. Pushing. Now you can solidify with a move like h5. Say you have nothing.
h5, and white is going to have to try and crack slowly away at the king side with f3, and black can simply play like b5, b4 kind of stuff.
Or even just ignore it clearly and just say, okay, I'll just play b5. What are you gonna do about it? b5, a4. What are we doing?
Yeah, here we go. Okay, and white's saying I'm gonna trade,
which is not a bad idea, actually.
No, I wonder if there was even b5 before captures. But
although this can get very bad very quickly for black. You can imagine like bishop e2, and then you have bishop d6. Which would be skewering the queen to the rook, giving you, some exciting material advantage.
Yes, for sure. We definitely shouldn't say that white is like dead lost here. White has definitely got counterplay. Black actually has a pretty bad bishop there on g7. And so this trade definitely makes a lot of sense, activating the worst piece.
Yeah, beautiful move. Beautiful move by black, I would just say. Understanding that we need to attack here. Now I think you'll see something like king h7. I mean, it's a little scary. The knight can maybe come down to h5, but you could just push too. Why not?
Attacking. Yeah, I mean, I think even if the minor pieces come off, black is very happy to just have these rooks on the A and B file and push those pawns.
This can get a little scary though. This is not. This is definitely there's definitely some issues to be had here. Okay, the bishop moves back. Yeah, I mean this. I do think black is in time, but the black king is not completely in the woods, like out of the woods.
No, the black king, I think what white would really prefer here is a fully open G file or H file. I think that's what we're missing to make white's attack a little bit. Yeah, see, I really like this G4 because what we do want is open lines to attack the king, which we don't have. I mean, obviously, if that bishop was not on F8, we'd have queen h6. Queen h6, which would be nice in an ideal world.
Although this, I think it's just not fast enough.
No, I mean, this is like the nightmare, you know, when you have all of these pawns storming at your king. I don't know, I'm always like, why did things go so wrong for me? You know, how did this happen? Yeah, this is tough. I mean, I feel like you have to play c takes, otherwise there's c2 check.
Well, c takes runs into c. Yes, you meant a takes.
Sorry. Yes. Sorry, I meant you have to play a takes. But then a takes, obviously.
Now here you don't take with a pawn. You risk running with having a pawn shield with the king on a1. Well,
okay, we have So this is like kind of an umbrella pawn, but maybe. I
mean, this may be just so winning that.
Yeah, I'm not. This is scary. Very.
Although
scary
it's not
for
hopeless.
White.
Like, I mean, the king. Like, if it were me, I would have just taken with the rook and played queen a5, and then you really have no stopping checkmate. So yeah. So yes, you can do this. You take with the queen.
Oh.
Or you could just take the queen as well. Actually, to be honest, I did not even see that. I'm not gonna lie. So that's
Andrew's science makes a lot of sense here. Yeah, that was a very nice attack from Black. White really just never got those open lines that you need to attack. We didn't have enough time to get the right pawn breaks.
Well, that's why you play the Pirk. This was actually very nice for the most part. I think,
That's true. I mean, Black's king is weirdly cozy behind those two H pawns, right? The rook on H1 looks kind of silly. And that dark squared bishop for Black literally held the entire position together.
I mean, the Black king there was off in Yellowstone. That's what I would say. The rest of the action is happening in Chicago, and this guy is just chilling. You ever been to Yellowstone? Have you been to America before, actually?
I've been to LA and Hawaii, but not the rest of the US. So some people would say that I've never been to the US.
Oh, you've been. LA is the US. Just like, there's people, as a New Yorker, I don't hate on LA. It's a good city. And Hawaii is fantastic. Big fan.
Hawaii is beautiful, yeah. No, I really want to go to New York and check out the chess and everything like that. And
great chess scene in New York.
Yeah, great chess scene, great chess personalities in the US. That's kind of on my list,
Yeah, I mean, listen, that's my part of the woods, though. That's born and raised New Yorker, New York.
Yeah, I'll have to come. We can hang out. We can play chess. We can beat the hustlers at their own game.
It's a lot of fun to beat the hustlers.
Yeah.
But they get mad if you beat them too much, because their whole thing is like because they're not trying to get scammed by some FIDE master. They're trying to scam the tech bro from San Francisco who wants to brag to his to his family that he could beat this random bum, and then they lose because they're actually pretty good. The hustlers, they're very tricky too. So
yeah. No, I did binge watch a lot of those street chess YouTube videos, and the hustlers are kind of scary. They're very strong.
I guess on the note of scary chess, this is the final round. So this round will determine who will be going to Berlin later this spring. $1,000 Armageddon final, which will be held by World Chef, obviously.
It's been a pleasure commentating with you, David.
Oh, it's
really
you
enjoyed
as
it.
well. Yeah, I've had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And actually, the final match we're getting, this is actually the top board. So I think if Orkun wins this game with the black pieces, he will qualify.
Yeah.
I think if Nikita Matinyan, who actually snuck up on me, is not someone I saw on my list. He's a grandmaster from Russia, as you could see. But if he wins this game, he will probably make it as well. So at the end of the day, the standings do resemble kind of what you would expect. But we see some of the top seeds are all here, chilling. But also there's still some opportunities for other people to either make some money or kind of sneak in.
And we have another Roy Lopez.
Here we go.
Which I'm very happy to see. And a D3 Roy Lopez, which is what I play.
Which is good. It's the anti-Berlin as well. You're avoiding any.
you avoid a lot of theory not going into the open Spanish, that kind of thing, and you get some really interesting positions as well. So it's nice. Wow, I haven't frequently seen these flank pushes on the king side before castles or anything like that. So this is fun. This is exciting.
I would guess this is all theory, or mostly.
I
Maybe now is a little bit out of the woods.
my theory is not super deep, so I wouldn't know. But yeah.
Oh wow.
I mean, I think you have to play something like h4, and you know, this makes a lot of sense. And not castling also makes a lot of sense. You know, this bishop on b6 looks good, but now there's a pawn on g4. It's actually very difficult to target, you know, f2 and to actually get pieces there. So
right now, white is obviously playing for a win. Like white has made it to 8 points, facing the number 1 seed. A win here basically guarantees, you know, tie break and all that stuff. A draw here may still sneak you in, so there's no reason not to play for a win. So I mean, I think this is why we're seeing a little bit of some hippie chess from some new age chess. You know, with these probably going to castle queenside and do.
Yeah, I would expect to see long castles. And instead of playing for like a d4 push in this opening, I think we're going to be playing a lot on the king side, maybe trying to get f3 or f4. Would you agree, David?
You have to be careful with f4. Well,
yes,
I eat my words. But you know, it does open this diagonal.
You love to see it.
Yeah, I know. I love to see it. I'm glad.
No, I completely know what you mean. But in Blitz, I feel like it's, you know, you gotta be spicy.
It does make sense. I mean, it would be nice to get the bishop to g5. The bishop, like you said before, is biting on granite, but black's not obliged to take.
That's true.
And I mean, you know, if
what my biggest fear for white in this position is if somehow we get this trade on the f file, and if black ever gets to push like g3, and then you get this bishop on f2, and like I just you know when things go that wrong, that would be my fear. Other than that, I feel like it's hard for things to go super wrong in white's position.
Well, yeah, that's why I thought that f4, you know, this is like hippie chess. Or okay, hippie. I shouldn't say hippie chess. I like hippies usually, but you know, it's some newfangled nonsense. I want to see some, you know, classic development, and you know, I'm a lover of the classics. But here we obviously, you know, we're playing some crazy stuff. It's a crazy situation. You want to win the tournament. Wow, rook f1.
Rook f1 did seem like the only move, but it's tricky though, because you know, after e takes, if bishop takes, knight takes h4, right? But it didn't seem like there was a better alternative to not be losing the f4 pawn. I'm not sure, to be honest.
Now this bishop is looking a little suspect. I mean, do you play something like a4, but then a4 allows? I mean, this is not the most comfortable position I've ever seen.
Okay, yeah, this makes a lot of sense.
Logical. You feel like you feel like tactically, yeah. This is I was gonna say. After you do something like trade the bishops, maybe you could play something like queen e3 and bring this queen into the. So somehow it seems like this is all justified, which is why I'm not a grandmaster.
I was gonna say that f5 feels almost like a concession.
white, depending on where the king goes. Yeah, I mean here I actually think you can.
Oh,
Oh, ooh, what
wow.
a nice move. The idea being, of course, that yeah, now this is actually I think is winning for white. I think that you can.
This
Yeah,
is really nice. This is very, you know,
very stylish. It's
very stylish. Yeah, these style points for sure for white here. And we
that
have
was a
these
beautiful find actually.
Yeah, beautiful pass pawns just right up by the king. Wow.
Black is trying for something. I mean, this could be
Mhm.
the tournament. Unfortunately, this could be the tournament slipping away. Just not quite there. Now it's something like rook e1. It's also a good move. Just playing for tempo.
I'm really impressed with the tactics from white. Honestly, I mean, I know he's a grandmaster, but it's still, seeing professionals make things look so easy is always impressive and
Yeah.
beautiful, especially in chess.
This is a very interesting decision, though.
But we're up a piece.
You
and
hope
some
that you get
pawns.
there in time, right? Yeah. I mean, this should be completely winning, but you never really know.
It's
Don't be sloppy. All right, this should be GG. I think you'll see resign soon.
Yeah.
Oh,
wow, nice. That's so nice. That's so good.
Yeah, and I mean, I
and
think
yeah, we just easy conversion now that black has no pieces. Very straightforward to win.
Yeah,
this.
I mean, with 40 seconds, there is no like. I think we have pre-moves, but it's not like on chess.com where you can just like make the chain of pre-moves. You have to like, it's like kind of like on the other play zones. Like you do need to do the work. Yeah, this should, the chess speaks for itself. And this will be checkmate very soon.
This is very nice. This was such a nice game.
Beautiful game, and I think this actually, yeah, I'm curious to see how this affects the standing. I think with that, I think he's going to make it to Berlin. Nikita Batynian from Russia. I think with that win, he will be going to Berlin. I think we should give it a second.
We'll see because there's still games going on and his tiebreak is kind of lower than other people's, so let's not speak too soon.
Yeah.
Like his tiebreak is 60.5. We've got a couple people on like 8 with a higher tiebreak, so.
But I don't know if the. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I would imagine that if you beat the top seed in the final round, that should be enough.
I would think so, but tiebreak's a tiebreak. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I'm curious actually. It's a bit of a head scratcher.
Yeah, the tiebreak may actually also change after the final round. Like if they had an easier pairing, it might go down. So it's not. I don't think we know yet who's qualified.
I think there might still be another game among the top.
Oh, all the tiebreaks are done. Okay.
We finished.
Oh,
actually.
we've got two players on 9. Okay, so yes, Nikita does qualify, I do believe.
And Artyom Zubitsky, who's the international master from Russia. So we do actually have our 2 winners of the Armageddon Online Cups. So congratulations to Artyom Zubitsky and Nikita Batynian, who finished with 9 out of 11 in this tournament. They will be heading to where, Lula? Where are they headed?
Well, it will be Berlin, but we do need to. There's a couple days whilst there's like an anti-cheating check.
That's right.
So I think the final results will be announced in maybe like 3 days or so. So basically, they do all of the final checks on all of the games, make sure there's not been any funny business. Anti-cheating team takes care of it all. Very strong anti-cheating measures. So the results, will be announced on the Armageddon website. And World Chess, I believe, also post about this on social media.
That's right. You could follow them. I think it's at the World Chess on Twitter and Instagram. You should follow them. They also give chess news updates. They follow Vachier-Lagrave. They give daily updates. So they're actually a very good thing to keep in your socials. You could follow us on socials as well. Lula, right? We got to plug the socials, shouldn't we?
Yeah, we are both present on
present.
social media. I'm at Lula Robs everywhere. Yeah, too present. And you can actually check us both out on David's podcast. I've
Two
done
episodes, too many.
On 64.
No, that was me. No, I'm kidding. Come on.
Oh.
Come on. Yeah, I'm being spicy.
Wow. Yeah, guys, make sure you sub to the World Chess YouTube channel if you're interested in seeing more broadcasts like this. And check out me over on Twitter and Twitch at Lula Robs. Check out David at 64 Chess Podcast on Spotify or wherever you get your podcasts. He's my favorite.
That's high praise.
Personally.
It's high praise. I'm not even my own favorite chess podcast, I don't think. Yeah.
What? I've been on a couple podcasts, and I feel like, yours has the comfiest vibe.
Yeah, because you get to, you don't have to. Now all these podcasters are doing, the room and like, come on, get on the Zoom call, turn on your microphone.
No, I love chess podcasts. But yeah, I really, really enjoyed commentating this event. It was super exciting. 5-0, great time control for commentating, I think. And this final, I feel really privileged to be commentating with you, David, and thank you again to Aim Chess for having both of us on. This was very fun.
Yeah, thank you guys. World Chess, thanks so much. Guys, it's been a pleasure. I had a lot of fun. Thanks for having me again. What's my final thoughts? We have our whole standings, so we know anti-cheating measures aside,
Yes,
we expect to know. Yeah, we expect to know who will be in Berlin. So stay tuned later this spring for the final, which is going to be in-person event in Armageddon format. So it's really excited, and hope to see you guys again, whether it's on the podcast or another commentary gig or whatever. This was a lot of fun, and I think it's time for my nap. So.
And good luck to all of the players who qualified at the finals in Berlin.
So have a good night, everyone, or good afternoon, good morning, wherever you are in the big wide world. And Lula, send it off.
Until next time.